Salutations, everyone. This is Razor here bringing you worries for Call of Duty Ghost. With each new piece of information, there's a little bit more to be worried about. I know we all want this game to be the best it can possibly be because it's a game that we're going to all dump a lot of time and effort into, and we want it to be balanced, we want it to be fun. But there's a lot of red flags in my mind when we start learning more and more about this game. I hope I'm wrong about a lot of these worries, but some of them seem to be too big to ignore. So we'll start from the least worrisome to the most worrisome in somewhat of an order. So let's start with integrated suppressors. This is something we have not seen in Call of Duty before, but there are at least 3 guns in the Call of Duty multiplayer that have weapons with integrated suppressors. The Honey Badger, which is a submachine gun, the K7, also a submachine gun, and the VKS sniper rifle. It's going to be difficult to see how these weapons are utilized because they have integrated suppressors. The actual gun in real life is only with an integrated suppressor. There's no other version without it. So how is this going to be handled in Call of Duty Ghosts? Are these weapons going to be treated as if they already have a suppressor on it, and that's just a free attachment that you get with these weapons? Because that would throw a little bit of balance off of the primary weapon game when it comes especially to the Honey Badger and the K7, which are submachine guns. VKS sniper rifle is a little less worrisome because it is a sniper, and it depends on what the one hit kill multipliers on the body are. But we've already seen with the 2 snipers that we've seen in the game that one's one hit kill to the upper leg and above, and the other's waist and above. So it'll be interesting to see what the VKS sniper's one-shot kill capability is. But when it comes to the AAC Honey Badger and the K7, are these weapons going to be given a free suppressor attachment? Because that's what it seems like, at least from the Honey Badger's description, from what we've seen in Call of Duty Ghosts so far. Or are they just going to treat it like it's not suppressed and you still have to use a suppressor attachment to get that effect, even though aesthetically it will always be suppressed? So that'll be very interesting to see. It could throw the balance way off. It could make these guns too strong. Who knows? Also, you'll never have the option to have them unsuppressed. So are they going to have them by default have a lower range than the other submachine guns, or are they going to have default good range even with his suppressor? So that'll be interesting to see, but it is something to worry about. Moving on again with the submachine guns, the Vector CRB. It's classified as having the highest penetration and damage in its class. Now, this has me a little bit worried here. We haven't really seen much of the game, so to say what is and what is not unbalanced remains to be seen. But to have the Vector have the highest damage in its class is a little worrisome to me, because the Vector has been historically the highest fire rate submachine gun, or close to it. In Modern Warfare 2 is by far the highest fire rate submachine gun at 1,111 rounds per minute. And in Black Ops 2, it doesn't have that fast, but it's still pretty darn fast at 750 rounds per minute, faster than your typical submachine gun. So giving this the highest damage and highest penetration, I'm not too concerned about the highest penetration. And once again, with these weapon classifications, the descriptions of these weapons, they are almost never accurate. So is this something we should be taking with a grain of salt, or is it really going to have the highest damage in its class? Because we've seen plenty of weapons that boast certain specifications when it comes to their damage or their range or the recoil, when it is certainly not that case when you actually use it in practice. So is this something that is just going to be completely not true? Or is the Vector a weapon that historically has a very, very fast fire rate and low recoil also going to have the highest damage? Because if that is the case, I'm going to see some imbalance coming. Next up, we have a assault rifle, the only 3-round burst that we know of, the MSBS. And what concerns me is its description here. High damage output in each burst, that's fine, but look at this. Fast rate of fire in full auto with reduced damage. So apparently the MSBS can be in full auto mode. Is this a reveal of a fully auto attachment, much like in Black Ops 2's select fire attachment? Is this going to be returning in Black Ops Ghosts? We don't know. We haven't seen a good look at pretty much all of the attachments so far. But with this weapons description, it makes me think that you're going to be able to make weapons fully auto that are not originally full auto, because this MSBS is described as a 3-round burst weapon, but in its very description says it has a fast rate of fire in full auto. So somehow this 3-burst weapon will be in full auto mode at some point in time. Don't know if it's going to be attachment, if it's going to be built into the gun, or what. But it will be able to be in full auto mode, yes, with reduced damage, but once again, that's going to be taken with a grain of salt. We don't know if that's going to be actually true or not, because these weapon descriptions are almost never accurate. So is this fully auto thing going to be unique to non-fully auto weapons, or what? We don't know at this point, but what worries me about this is if you played Black Ops 2, and if you've seen the M8 or the SWAT, or the FAL, or the SMR, with fully auto attachments makes those guns, all of them, overpowered as fuck. So, I mean, it does say with reduced damage, so maybe there's a way that they can balance it, but it's still a red flag for me, the fact that they have revealed, without telling us what the attachments are, that these 3-round burst weapons, at least this one, can be fired in full auto mode. So who knows what implications this will bring. Next, we have the Marksman Rifles, something that I initially thought was a great thing, and many other people, like the snipers, didn't like it when there was low damage snipers that hardly ever killed in one shot, and if so, it was only to the head. And there are people like me who just love those semi-automatic weapons. And we have weapons here like the MK14 and the MR28 that have been released so far, and the Dragunov and a couple as well. We don't know how these guns are going to play because we haven't played the game yet, but with this whole class of weapons that are very similar, they're going to be good at long range. They're going to be high damage and semi-automatic. Is this going to make modded controllers a big thing once again? This might be a different subject when you get into the evolution of consoles discussion, because we're not going to have modded controllers as easily available for those new systems, because we're not going to have third-party controllers out, at least a lot of them, initially. So is modded controllers going to make this weapon class something to be very annoying and very unbalanced? It remains to be seen, but hopefully there's a way that they can balance it. It worked well in Black Ops 1, but if you look at weapons like the FAL for Modern Warfare 2, modded controllers ruined that gun, and if you go to Modern Warfare 3 with the MK14, modded controllers ruined that gun, and in Black Ops 2, you didn't need a modded controller, so it wasn't a problem because rapid fire was already built into the semi-automatics of the SMR and the FAL with the select fire attachment, which I have previously discussed. So next up, let's go to equipment here. The trophy system is making a return. That's bad enough, because the trophy system is a pro camper tool. It is what campers use to protect themselves from being killed from those hard to reach camping places or head glitches. It's a way that they can protect themselves, and it's very imbalanced. It's not used to protect objectives like it's has been designed for. Campers use it to defend themselves from people who are actually playing the game correctly. I know you can play it however you want, but these trophy systems are used as bitch tools for bitchy little campers to camp and have this little system to protect them from anyone who wants to get them out of their super strong camping system. Next up, we have the IED. What it is an improvised proximity explosive device. So, first of all, shouldn't that be an IPED? Anyways, it sticks to any surface and arms shortly after deployment. So this seems like it's going to be the replacement for the Claymore. But as we know with the Claymore, it's unilaterally directed. So the IED obviously is not going to have that. An explosion is going to be a 360 radius as opposed to the Claymore, which just has a cone radius. And then when you go to the Bouncing Betty, that does have a 360 radius, but that takes a little time to actually activate and explode. Yes, this says armed shortly after deployment, but I expect that to be much more like the Claymore. It won't immediately explode if someone's in front of it when it's placed. It's going to take a little time to arm itself, but it might be stronger than the Claymore because it's not going to be unilaterally directed in its explosion cone. It's going to be a 360-degree thing. So we've all had our problems with Claymores, protecting doorways and campers, and the IED might be even stronger. It depends on how big the explosion is, how effective it is, but that is going to be a much bigger problem when we get on to a certain perk that I'm going to be discussing later. So the IED looks like it could be something to worry about because Claymores are already a bitch when it comes to campers using those. But when you make it a 360 explosion without the pause time of Bouncing Betty, it makes it stronger, and that's a little bit worrisome. Next up, the motion sensor, making a return. Infinity Ward loves giving campers as many camper tools as possible. They catered to the noobs, Infinity Ward. That's what they're famous for, and that's what they're going to continue to do with this and many other things to come. Motion sensor, we don't know how it's going to work, but the fact that it is in the game is a red flag to me because that is used to camp. That is a noob tool, and what it says it does in this game is it paints the target with tracers that allow the enemy to be tracked through objects. Now, maybe this isn't going to be as strong as it sounds, but it sounds like this could be the strongest motion sensor in COD history because it'll track you through objects. We don't know if this is just a fancy way of saying what it has already done in the past, but tracers tracking through objects, this is different language than we've ever seen the motion sensor be described before. Maybe it's exactly the same as we've seen it in Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 3, but the fact that it's making a return is worrisome enough because it is used as a camper tool. Yes, it will have its counter, but at the same time, or at least we hope it has a counter. I don't know, we have a full description of Off the Grid or Blind Eye. I don't think it's in the description of Blind Eye, but hopefully there is a counter to this, and even if there is, it shouldn't be in the game because it's a camper noob tool that will only be used in very annoying, very non-objective playing ways. So next, let's move to secondaries here. Pistols seem fine. The Panzerfaust launcher seems fine, kind of an up-to-date version, your anti-killstreak weapon. But when you get to the other two launchers, we got two noob tubes. Once again, the Kaztet launcher, which seems like your typical Thumper or China Lake, one grenade launcher at a time kind of a thing. So that's obviously going to make a return, and that's annoying enough as it is. But next, we have the MK32. Holy shit, does this thing really put up some red flags. It's basically the War Machine from Black Ops 2, except it's a secondary now. Now, we don't know if it's going to be that strong. We don't know what the fire rate's going to be. It does have 6 grenades. It's a noob tube launcher with 6 grenades, and it's semi-automatic. That is already, in my mind, overpowered as fuck. And I don't think that that's going to change at all. They're not going to make it a 2-shot launcher. They're not going to make its fire rates like 1 shot per 10 seconds. It's not going to be that. This thing is out of the gate too strong. It is unbalanced, and it's going to be annoying. A 6-round rocket fucking noob tube launcher. I don't know how this doesn't have absolutely everybody worried, especially with the advent of Danger Close, which I'm going to get to here in a second, which I hinted at with the IEDs. But this is going to be a problem. Like I said, we don't know what the fire rate's going to be. We don't know how big these explosions are. We don't know how effective it is. But if COD history tells us anything, with Infinity Ward at the helm and what we've seen from 6-round rocket launcher, noob tube launchers before, this is a huge red flag, and I can easily see this being a huge problem out of the gate day one. So I hope I'm wrong, but this is a huge red flag to me. So let's go on to why this might be an even bigger problem, and that's danger close.